This video is for entertainment purposes only and is not financial advice. Hey guys, welcome back to another video. My name is Josh. This video will be the last video for the year, and as always, we're going to go through the broker top 5 picks for 2022. Now, in this video, I'm going to go through the 2021 performance. We'll take a look at which broker has done the best, and we'll also take a look at the picks going forward into 2022, taking a look at which picks are most common amongst the brokers. I'll also be sharing with you my performance and my picks for 2022 as well. But in case you are unfamiliar with this competition, here's a brief rundown. Brokers pick 5 different NZX listed equity instruments. So these are New Zealand stocks, does not include overseas stocks like Australia or the US, and each pick has an equal weighting, meaning that each stock that they pick have a 20% allocation in this fictional portfolio of 5 stocks, right? You can't buy and sell stocks during the year, so this is a buy and hold for 1 year type competition, and the time period for 2021 results are between the 21st of December 2020 to the 17th of December 2021. So this is not exactly from the start of the year to the end of the year. This is from the later end of December last year to the later end of December this year. So going forward into 2022, a similar time period will also apply for next year's results. All right, so that's just something to be aware of in case you might see the performances for start to the end of 2021 is slightly different from their calculations. So in terms of my performance, I've calculated it based on this time period over here, just to make sure that my performance is compared to the brokers on a like-to-like basis. In case you don't know already, this is just a game. This is not a buy, hold, or sell recommendation on any of these stocks that I'll be discussing in this video. Before we get right into the video, I just want to make clear that I do have an Instagram account. However, there's a fake profile pretending to be me on Instagram, messaging a bunch of my followers. So if you get a message from someone that looks like me, usually it's not me because I wouldn't message you first. I would message you only if you message me first. Be safe out there, and if you see this guy, please report him. Alright, so with that out of the way, let's get right into the video, going from the worst performer to the best performer. So in 6th place, we have MSL Capital Markets delivering a negative 2.2% return. Their best performer was Heartland Group Holdings, which delivered a 54.2% return. Heartland Group Holdings is a bank. They've done really well in 2021 as the economy recovered from the COVID lockdowns, and banks usually have a very high COVID beta. So when COVID fears go up, banks usually trend down, and when COVID fears come down, then banks usually trend up as well. And they've also benefited from rising interest rates somewhat towards the end of the year as the RBNZ started increasing the OCR. Now, the worst performer for MSL was Plexure. Plexure delivered a loss of 54.6% return. So overall, the loss from Plexure balanced out the gains from Heartland Group Holdings, and MSL delivered a slightly negative return of 2.2%. The NZX 50 has delivered 0.9%, not too bad of a result considering the benchmark performance, however still an underperformance. And for next year, they have AFT Pharmaceuticals, Fletcher Building, Heartland Group Holdings, New Zealand Rural Land Company. This was a recent IPO late last year actually. This company was formed to acquire agriculture farmland. And lastly, they have Promesia Healthcare. Now in 5th place, we have Hamilton Hindin Green. Hamilton delivered a 5.9% return for 2021. The best performers were Mainfreight, which delivered 48.6% return, and EBOS, which delivered 37% returns. And the worst performer was A2 Milk. And so A2 Milk was quite a popular pick last year. So brokers that picked A2 Milk tend to do not so well compared to the other brokers that didn't. However, still an outperformance against the benchmark of 0.9%. And for next year, they also had A2 Milk, and Hamilton was the only broker that actually picked A2 Milk in 2022. So they're standing out from the crowd. Other picks that they have are Fletcher Building, Fish and Paykel Healthcare, Infratil, as well as Freightways. Now in 4th place, we have Hobson Wealth Partners. Hobson Wealth delivered a 7.8% return. The best performer was the Warehouse Group, delivering 80.5%. So the Warehouse is a beneficiary of the reopening trade, and retail stocks did quite well in 2021. So Warehouse delivered a very good return for Hobson Wealth. Overall, they have delivered 7.8% returns. Now for 2022, Hobson Wealth has picked Heartland Group Holdings, Mainfreight, Sky TV, Trade Window, which was a recent listing on the NZX, and Trustpower, which is their fifth pick. Now in third place we have Craig's. Craig's delivered a 14.9% return. They have the two strong performers, Mainfreight and EBOS, and they didn't really pick A2 Milk, which meant that their performance was much better than the other brokers previously, but they did have Ryman, which was their best performer at negative 13.5%. So overall a very good performance from Craig's. And in 2022 they have Contact Energy, Somerset, Pushpay, EBOS Group, as well as Fletcher Building. Now in second place we have Forsyth Barr. Forsyth delivered a 27% return. Top performers were Skellerup, which delivered 79.4%, EBOS Group, Kathmandu, which is also a New Zealand retailer, delivering 26.8%. Again, retailers had a very good performance this year. They also had Genesis Energy as well as Spark. So no negative performance for Forsyth Barr, which meant that their performance this year was really good at 27% versus a benchmark of 0.9%. Now in 2022, they have chosen New Zealand Refining Company, which will be renamed as Channel Infrastructure next year. They also had Sky City, Avida, EBOS Group, and recent IPO Vulcan Steel. Now let's go on to the champion of the 2021 competition this year, and that will be Jarden, delivering a phenomenal 33.8% return. The top performers are Turners Automotive, delivering 58.6% return. So Turners is a second-hand vehicle dealership, and they've benefited quite significantly from the supply shortages of vehicles. So they've done really well. Mainfreight and EBOS, also strong performers. They also had Z Energy and Spark. So no negative performers, only strong performers. Most of them will double-digit, very high performing stocks. And for next year, they picked Contact Energy, Infratil, Heartland Group Holdings, Skellerup, as well as Comvita. Now let's talk about the bonus pick, which was the Sharetrader Forum. So there's a forum online where people discuss stocks, and they have the top 5 picks from all the participants that enter into the competition. So it's completely free to enter. If you're interested, it's sharetrader.co.nz. So in 2021, the top stock picks on the Sharetrader forums were Mainfreight, which delivered 48.6% return, PEB, which delivered 14% return, Oceania Healthcare, which was largely flat, and the two worst performers were A2 Milk and Plexure, delivering very high double-digit losses. So overall, the Sharetrader Forum didn't do too well. They delivered a 7.8% loss for the year, and that puts them below all the other brokers. So very interesting to note, Sharetrader last year did really well compared to the brokers. This year they didn't do too well, right? And for next year's picks, that is still to be confirmed, as currently they are accepting entries into the competition. So you can put your name in, put your stocks in, and they'll tally it up, and overall they'll give us top 5 picks based on what the participants have selected. So you can check that out sometime throughout the year if you're watching this next year. So now let's talk about my performance and my picks for next year. As you can see, my 2021 performance wasn't that good. I've delivered a 3.6% return compared to the benchmark of 0.9%. Now the top performance for my picks were Sky TV, which delivered a 65.6% return, Heartland Group Holdings, which delivered a 54.2% return. However, I did pick A2 Milk and Plexure, which were the top 2 worst performers in this competition. So overall, the performance has kind of balanced out, and I've got a 3.6% return, outperforming the index. However, compared to the brokers, not my best performance. To be honest, for most of the year, my performance was in negative territory, and if it weren't for Sky TV's late rally this year, I would have been in the negative for this competition. So thankfully, my portfolio is not the same as my top 5 picks. This is obviously just for the competition. So for next year, I'm going to pick more sort of stable stocks and stocks that align with my Sharesies public portfolio. So the 4 stocks that I have in the Sharesies public portfolio listed in New Zealand are Oceania Healthcare, Heartland Group, Infratil, as well as Auckland Airport. And I had to pick one more for the portfolio. So to be honest, I don't really have many ideas in the NZX, so I've opted for a cash proxy, which would be Spark. Spark is a relatively stable company that pays stable dividends. So I'm picking Spark just to balance out the portfolio. I would only have 4 picks. I'll be happy to make these 25%, but for the purposes of this competition, picking Spark as my 5th pick. So now let's take a look at the most picked stocks for 2022. And as you can see over here, Fletcher Building and Heartland Group Holdings were picked by 3 different brokers, and EBOS Group, Contact Energy, and Infratil were picked twice by 2 different brokers. So compared to last year's picks, you can see that this year's picks are not very concentrated. It's very well distributed. The picks are quite varied. We've seen a few new IPOs and new listings being picked by these brokers. So it does go to show that a lot of these brokers have differing opinions on how to trade for 2022, because remember, this is a short-term competition. So it does reinforce the idea that next year, 2022, is quite uncertain as of right now. We don't know what's going to happen with the COVID situation, with the reopening. We have a booming property market, which does support, Fletcher Building doing quite well in 2022, and Heartland Group Holdings benefiting from rising interest rates as the RBNZ increases the OCR. So these are the themes going into next year, and these are the stocks that the brokers are picking. So that's all for today's video. Hopefully you enjoyed it. If you enjoyed it, be sure to hit like and subscribe, share it with friends who are interested in picking stocks for 2022 as well. Thank you guys for watching. I wish you all a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year, and all the best for your investing in 2022. And until next year, take care.